Gritsamada Bhargava, who is very ancient Rishi. It's the most ancient mandala, most probably mandala 2, and has a very cryptic and archaic language. Let me start with mantra. Om Vang me manasi pratishthitam mano me vachi pratishthitam Aviravirma edi Vedasyama anistha Shrutam me ma prahasi Anena dhitena horatran Samdadhami ritam vadishyami Satyam vadishyami Tanmamavatu tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right, here we are. It is the Trishtup, a very ancient myth to hymn to the Savitar. Udushya devah Savita Savaya Shashvattamam Tadapa Vahnir Asthat Nunam Devebhyo Vihidhati Ratnam Athabhajat Vitihotram Suastau. Stood up this god Savitar to move things upward. Most constant work he does to carry all to summits. Thus holds he wide, indeed, the treasure for the gods, made the power of movement shared by all in well-being. Savitar is called Vahni, carrier, from the root vah, to carry. Agni is also called, and Indra and Maruts are called Vahnis, for they carry the being to the summit of its consciousness. He also has treasure for the gods. They all want to have the treasure of the Supreme Being in consciousness, and the power that moves all towards it is distributed by him among all in their well-being. In other words, when the manifestation of the divine fully takes place, it will be in the form of well-being of all. So if we go word by word, Ud up, this god, Syah, Devah, Savitar, this Savitar god, Savaya, for Sava. Interesting, Sava and Savitar is from root su, to distill, to press out, to manifest. And Sava can have many meanings. It can be also the one who sets everything in motion, impels, instigator, stimulator, commander. It is the name of the sun also. Savita is also, Sava is also setting in motion, impulse, command, order. It is a kind of sacrifice, any sacrifice, because sacrifice is nothing but revealing the sacred nature of the thing. Yes, so pressing out something which is hidden behind the veil, and that has to be revealed, manifested. So for this Sava, It's dative case for Sava. For Sava, Savitar is rising up. He's rising up to press out the divine hidden within the things. Shashvattamam tadapabhahnich asthat. And the most constant or the most Shashvattamam work, Apa, he does. The most work, the most constant work he does to carry with some way mistake. He does to carry all to summits, yes. He does this work to carry all to summits is added by me because it's implied. Because Shashvattamam Apa, Apas, the work, the sacrificial work, all constant work, the most constant, the most work which will never change, will always be there, Shashvattamam. The work of the Sava, most probably. The Vahni, the carrier, stood up, rising. Ud asthat, interesting information. Ud is the first prefix, asthat is the last verb, and everything is in between. Yeah? This is the Vedic usage of the language. So up, that God Savitar, for the sacrificial work, the most constant manifestation, the carrier stood. This is literally up, stood at the end. Nunam devebhyo vihidhati ratnam. Nunam, it's actually now. Or in actual time, for the gods, vihidhati, he indeed establishes wide the ratnam, the treasures. The treasures he establishes wide for the gods. Wherever he moves, there is a treasure is being established for the gods. Athabhajat, and thus abhajat, he shares or distributes, or in past tense also. He shared all viti hotram, interesting word. The power of movement. Viti is actually movement, but can have many other meanings. And hotra is something with invocation, oblation, a sacrificial movement. Viti hotra, inviting to enjoyment or to the feast, invited to a feast. I think it is a very secondary meaning derived from all kind of possible interpretations in Brahmanas, because the dictionary does not give us, and we do not know really what it means. But we know that viti is also enjoyment, feast, advantage, profit, and also movement forward from root V. We had this in other Deva Vitaye, for the advancement or for the movement of the gods, Viti. In other words, it has different meanings. So Viti could be the movement, the sacrificial movement, Suastha, yes, or made the power of the movement shared in well-being. So this idea of that when the manifestation of the divine fully takes place, it will be in the form of well-being of all. We find it all the time in Indian tradition, yes? Sarvesham svastir bhavatu. This is the highest form of the sacrifice. May all be happy, may all have fullness, auspiciousness, yes, and happiness. we kind of invoke that happiness for all. That means we call to the most effective form of the sacrifice. Yeah. Shall we move to another one? Oh, there's something else here. Yeah, they are all called Vahnis, the gods which make the difference, which are evolutionary powers of the divine, which transform the being in time. Yes, they are the carriers. It's quite interesting. Yeah? Vahni. There is also in Slavic language Vahni, Vohony, in Ukrainian is Agni. We have two words in Slavic languages, Ogny, and that is Agni, and Vahni, Vohony. They are both from Sanskrit, Agni and Vahni. Agni is from root Ag, most probably also Aj. Agni, moving forward, Agre Nayati iti Agni, as Vajaska would say. Agni is the one who leads forward, the leader. From here, Aja. Aja is translated as the leader forward. And also the goat is called Aja because he's the Vahani, the Vahana, Vahani, Vahana, the same root, the carrier of Agni, Aja, the goat, the one who leads forward. He's always Oven, or in the zodiac, yes, he is the belonging Agnets Божий. We say it in the Slavic languages, the Yagnya, a small lamb, the lamb, yes, it is him, that flame lamb, the divine lamb. Jesus was recognized as the lamb. Interesting. It is that flame in the heart, psychic flame. So all these roots are very important. Yes, they give us the understanding of what the deity does. It is always moving us forward, moving in this forward of transformational journey, evolutionary journey. So Savitar is that power who is Vahni, who is carrying us forward, and he distributes widely the treasures for the gods. And there is a reason for it, because that treasure the gods want most, because that treasure gives them the sense of growth. The gods cannot grow without evolution. Yes, they are typal beings, as Mother says. But with the evolutionary movement, they Shobana uses this word, they they seek that treasure, because that treasure can be obtained only through the sacrifice. So they have to participate in the change of the being here in this time and space, and through that participation, they grow in consciousness and become even as the Supreme. Yeah? As it is said in another place, Mitra and Varuna, through the sacrifice, are rising to the supreme seat or the throne from which they would see both Aditi and Diti. So both hemispheres are perceived in time and space and beyond time and space simultaneously only by the Supreme, not by the gods. But the gods last after this heavenly treasure. They want to achieve that highest realm from which they obtain the consciousness of the Supreme. Makes sense, no? It is that catch which is tying them down to the sacrifice. I would not say up, down, because they have to come down in order to rise in consciousness. And number 2. Vishvasya hi Shrushtaye deva urdhavah pravahava prithupani sisarti apaschit asya vrata ani mrigra ayam chidvato ramate parijman. High God, for all to hear and follow his command, he stretches his arms forward, having broad arms. The cosmic waters are devoted, attached to this way of action, Vratani Marigra. And the cosmic life force rests in his law in a whirling circle. Vishvasya hi shrushtaye, for shrushti, for the command, for the obedience, yes, of all, or for to follow his command, the Deva Urdhvah, the high God, Prava Bahava, his arms, Prithupani, the one who has vast arms, Prasisarti, he extends forward. Forward is important for us. Forward means always in the progressive movement forward. You know? In time he stretches his arms forward towards the future. Apaschit asya vrata ani mrigra, and his apach, so to say, cosmic waters, indeed, of his, attached to his vrata ani mrigra. Ayam chid vato ramate parijman, and the cosmic life force, vata, ayam vata, rests ramate parijman, in a whirling circle. So to say, it goes on and on, moving. The life force is moving in the whirling circle, doing its work. Why? Because the cosmic waters are attached to him, and the life force is manifested through his movement. The one whose vast arms are extended forward in time, of this high God, and the whole universe is here to obey his command. It's very cryptic language, and so we will read through once, and then maybe we will get some more intuition on these verses, which are not clear now totally. Ashubhishchityan vimuchati nunam ariramat atamanam chid etoch ahyarshunam chid niapama vishyam anuvratam savituch moki agat. It's very, very cryptic. Something like Savitri, first canto. Even though he is moving by the fast steeds, now he set them free. Even he made the moving thing rest in its movement. Even he came down to the desire of those who move with the python, and night followed the Savitar's will and way of his action. What can you gather from this? Ashubhikchit yan vimuchati nunam, moving by, or with the fast ones, he can release them in his supreme stillness at once. in this movement of his eternal time, Nunam, being in the motion, it could stay immobile. He has descended to the bottom of the python's desire, and the night followed Savitar's way of action. In one verse, the whole manifestation from the top to the bottom. Moving with his fast ones, Ashu swift, with the swift ones Yan moving, Vimuchati Nunam, now means kind of in this eternal time, he makes them free. Moving with them, with their swiftness as horses, in the eternal times, he makes them free, he releases them. Ari Ramat, interesting word. There are many words which are very. Ari Ramat, he stops Atamanam, the moving one, he stops Chit, indeed, Etoch, in their movement. In its movement, he stops the moving one, or makes him stop and makes him stay. The moving one is made to stay in the movement. What does it really mean? Everything which moves and constantly develops looks like it is in itself the being. I am kind of looking at myself as if I am not changing, as if I am not growing, not vibrating, nothing. I am what I am, the self. The self is manifested, though it is constantly moving in movement, as if it is staying, as if it is forever as it should be. Is it not amazing creation? Everything it looks like in time, because of time, of course. It looks like in this moment of time, in this Nunam time, it looks like as it should be. And still, it is constantly moving in this universal moment and constantly changing and never the same. This is the puzzle of our creation. And then the second line is even more puzzling. Ahyarshunam chid niayan avishyam. There can be several translations. He has descended to the bottom of the python. Ahyarshunam chid ni, down. Ayan, descended. Avishyam, to the python's desire. This here, avishya, desire, which is met only here in this hymn. Notice. Moki, only in this hymn. These words are met only here. So what is this python's desire at the bottom of things to which he descended? He reached down to the very bottom of things with his command, with his movement, Savitar, Anuvratam, and according to his action of Savitar, Savituch, Moki Agat, the Moki, the one who liberates, Moki, very rare word, which means night. Anu Agat, followed him according to his action. So the night obeys Savitar in his evolutionary movement. She obeys him. She cannot deny his command. Ahi Arshunam, yeah. This is also interesting word, but most probably only here. Yes, only in this hymn, only in this line. Gliding or shooting like a snake. Ahi Arshu. Rish is to slide. Ahi is the snake or python. Ahi is used, and amhas and ahi are used in the Veda to clarify the concept of narrowness or tightness, where the consciousness has no space. So narrowing down. If we narrow down the light and we will not allow light to shine, we will arrive at darkness. Yes. So the shades of light to the darkness are exactly this ahi. Ahi is that python which is pressing down, squashing the being out of its own space, as it were. So not allowing light to be free in its movement. Suffocating. So that's why ahi is that vritra who it's selfishness. It's actually the psychological concept of selfishness. Snake, python, which works only for itself, onto itself, regarding itself as the most important thing, and everything works only for him. As Sri Krishna in the Gita would say, the one who cooks for himself, the food is a thief. There is another word for it, a thief who steals the delight of the divine and uses it only for itself, for himself. And this is ahi, this selfishness. As Sri Aurobindo beautifully says, there is only one sin, and that is selfishness. So this is ahi, that sin, that snake which is killed in the Christian tradition by Georgi, the victor. That snake has to be killed. That selfishness, that ego sense has to be destroyed, because it always orients everything for its own benefit only and doesn't see the movement and manifestation of the divine. So it reaches down to the desire, to the very bottom of this movement of selfishness within our universe. And because he reaches out to the very core of selfishness, which is the cause or the self of death, the night follows him and his action, because he touches the very core of that very night. I went into a deep jungle and came out from it, looking for the ways to express this. It's not very obvious, but when you start contemplating on it, you will see why it is so, why Moki follows his action. Because he reached to the bottom of things, to the very self of the night.
So Vladimir kind of reminds me of how Savitar becomes Savitri, the creator, and then Pushan, who is pushing towards the progressive illumination.
Right.
And it has to illumine even the dark for everything to become complete in the divine scheme of things. It even enters the dark, which is the python, the abyss, the inconscient, because it's part of the light.
Right.
And he has to even be more that force and energy there to make this whole creation totally divine and illuminated.
Right. There is, of course, a mysterious relation of Savitar with the night, as you remember from the previous hymn. It's in every verse we had him relating to the night, because his action is in the night. Yeah, without the night there is no Savitar. Yeah, they are related, and because of that, of course, night is so important. It is the field of his action. It is the movement which he creates within the night, manifesting all things as they are in this universal motion. And it's quite amazing that creation is made in such a way that everything is the divine in this moment of time and still can be more divine. Yeah? Is not the final product. And still everything is the divine as it is. So we have to, that's why we, on one side, we can this idea of, for example, of the freedom and delight, which Mother says, these are two major features of this creation, the freedom and the delight. You know, everyone, every creature has the right for the freedom. What does it mean, freedom? It means for the space to move, evolve, grow. Yeah? Everybody should have, that's a swadharma of everyone. It should belong to everyone. Everybody has the right to grow and at the same time to enjoy this growth. So Savitar provides this, yeah? These two things, freedom and delight of growth.
Vladimir, there's a lot of parallel between this verse and the Garden of Eden story in the Bible. God and then the snake, who is only gliding on the ground as a result of his punishment. So presumably was some kind of a being with legs or whatever, proposes to Adam and Eve to be selfish, which I think is the same thing as accepting the duality between themselves and God, being separated from God. And then as a result, there's this curse that goes on. That part of the curse is that, or part of the prophecy is that Eve's followers, such as the Virgin Mary, will stomp on the snake's head, and there's images of the Virgin Mary, many of them, particularly on the miraculous medal, where she's actually stepping on the head of a snake. So that relationship again between Savitar and Savitri, I see just a lot of confluence there.
Yeah, well, this is the, truly speaking, the kind of orthodox interpretation of the snake as something, in this case, kind of evil, because snake is always evil, python, yes, narrowing down the consciousness and so on. But snake has also another in kind of image or symbolism of the change and growth and
Kundalini.
energy. Yes, like Kundalini Shakti is also a snake rising. Kind of interesting that snake has both. Yes, the Vedic is mainly this python, which is making narrowing down consciousness. And I'm sure you know Mother's interpretation of the Adam and Eve myth. If you don't, then you please try to read and to see it from the Mother's point of view. It's kind of interesting. She thinks that that duality which was offered by snake near the tree was actually evolutionary force. which was telling them to fall out from the paradise in order to manifest the divine. That's what we think. Yeah? And through that manifestation to rise to higher consciousness, from the typal to the supreme. Because the typal is not the supreme. Yeah? It is something which is staying in itself. It is not evolving. It is not manifesting the divine. It is as it is. But this danger was offered to them to be even as gods, Sri Aurobindo would say, to rise higher. And to rise higher, they have to fall. They must fall. And the curse which was there, Mother says the divine would never curse anyone. It's only some other force, Asuric force, can curse. Asuric force can be jealous. It is more egoistic. Divine is never egoistic, never jealous, always there to help. It's only we can turn away from the divine, yes? This is what we do. We turn away from the divine and we say, oh, the divine is not helping me. But there is no other way for the divine not to help us. Only we ourselves can decide this. So there is another very interesting, very unusual interpretation, because nobody interprets it this way, only the Mother, in the view of evolution and manifestation. If you look at it, you will see that it has its place. It has its place also. So maybe it's a multiple, because that snake is also can be an evil, which, pushed away from your paradise, you out of the paradise, and you fell into the troubles. And were cursed by that. But you were not cursed by snake, interestingly. You were cursed by Yahweh, Jehovah, jealous God. Most probably there is a mixture of things, and most probably both interpretations are hidden there. We do not know. We need to go to the Hebrew text and see more clearly there and in a Kabbalistic way to interpret these things. Because we are reading translations, and mainly from Greeks and Latin, all those interpretations of later time with this particular one mindset. I'm sure there is more there, I'm sure. But one has to know Hebrew for that. It's like with the Veda, if you read the interpretations of the Veda, of the Rig Veda, you will be surprised how down to earth it is, yes? Nearly barbaric writing. And if we interpret it, we find so much more. Yeah? So the same in the Bible, I believe. Great. Yes. The most puzzling for me here was this Ariramat Atamanam Chit Etoch. It reminds me of Isha Upanishad first verse, yes? Isha avasyamidam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. Everything is to be embodied by the Lord. Whatever moves in the universal motion. There's something moving in the universal motion. Yes? Someone who is, or exists by himself. And then, number 4, Punach sam akhyat vitatam vayanti madhya kartoch niadhat shakmadhirach utsam hayasthat viritun adardhar aramatich savita deva agat. What was spread out in the vast by Savitar, she, the night, weaves again anew, reviewing all. The powerful and the wise Savitar leaves his work in the middle, half done, Having arisen, he stood up, holding the seasons apart, the sacrificial year, the kind of redistribution of the year in seasons. Savitar, the god, came to us with his mind full of luminous rays. Now another puzzle, beautiful. He doesn't complete his work. He does it half done and then he leaves it for the night to complete it. Night will be doing the other half of his work. It is a very mysterious statement. What was created spread vitatam by Savitar. The night, which is clear from the previous verse, is weaving again, totally afresh. And Savitar, skillful or thoughtful, dhirach, leaves his action, shakma, undone in the middle, or half done, finishing half of his work only. He is leaving his work for her to finish, whereas she is reweaving it again, all what he has done, and completing the other half, what he did not complete. Only half work is done, you remember from Savitri. Only the everlasting no has neared and stared into thy eyes and killed thy heart. But where is the lover's everlasting yes? This work of the night is still to be done. The night is still to be converted into the light, and then there will be everlasting yes. Nobody can do this work. Only the night itself has to take this part and convert itself into the light. The night is the doer, the executive power of all his beginnings. It can be seen as the first imagery of the concept of Purusha and Prakriti in the later post-Vedic literature, where Purusha is seen as Anumanta, the sanctioner, and Prakriti, the executrix. This verse is showing the importance of the work of the night in the manifestation of the divine. She is reweaving afresh all what was spread by Savitar as the divine element. It has to be interwoven into the new situation, new context. She is arranging and rearranging all the light and power and bliss which he spreads out for her to manifest. As Sri Aurobindo would say, he lost himself in her and found anew, yes, or something. To find anew himself, he lost himself in her. It also shows a deeper relation of the Lord and spouse than that of Purusha and Prakriti in Sankhyayic paradigm, where Purusha is only Sakshin, a witness. He is also Anumanta and Ishvara. Sri Aurobindo explains it to Pavitra. He explains to Pavitra 3 stages of his yoga. Yes? First, we discover Purusha as witness, Sakshi. Then we discover that he is not only Sakshi, but he is also Anumanta, the one who gives sanctions to Prakriti, and Prakriti acts according to his sanctions. And then later we discover that actually there is no Prakriti and Purusha, Anumanta, but there is Ishvara and Shakti, and she is his Shakti only. And he acts and lives by her as his power. And that is the highest realization, where there is no more division on the spirit and matter or spirit and nature. And that is the last stage. That's why he left his half work to her to complete. Yeah. Okay, I will stop here. If you have some thoughts, please. I will stop sharing. Without Sri Aurobindo's vision, it would be impossible to translate this or to interpret any of these hymns in this way, as you understand, yes? There is no other key or understanding which is coming even close to this. It is totally differently translated. You will be surprised how down to earth it is, or incoherent it is. But it becomes coherent and luminous if we take Sri Aurobindo's vision. And all the words start to play properly. Every word has a meaning, deeper meaning. If we apply his interpretation, we see why he uses shakma for his action. It's from Ruchak, these potentials, all the potentials he leaves to her to accomplish. If we go deeper into the roots, we will see more layers of the meaning, yeah? Which we cannot even cover in one go. Some thoughts, maybe? No? Gunhild joined us. Hi, Gunhild. Gunhild is also the scholar of Sanskrit, and her PhD was in the Upanishads in the light of Sri Aurobindo in Pune University. Gunhild is my oldest friend. We met in Pune University in 91. She visited us here, as you remember, Jayashree and Geetashree.
It reminded me also of Isha Upanishad.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very similar idea, yes, of manifesting the divine, the Lord, in this everyone. And what verse is what is reminding you from Isha?
Sampratadi jati tanai jiti.
He moves and he moves not, yes.
Now there was another one Isha was mentioning. So. Yeah.
Oh, you mean that the gods move in front and they cannot reach him, yes? He is always in front, like a carrot for the donkey, and a carrot in front. So he's not moving, but he is faster than all the moving gods. They cannot reach him. They are trying with all their speed to reach him, to catch the spirit, but they cannot, because he is always in front. You cannot catch the spirit. Yeah?
Can you go a little more in detail when we say the third stage is when Sri Aurobindo explains, later we discover there is no Purusha Prakriti but only Ishvara and Shakti?
Well, the whole Life Divine is about this. Yes, there is the whole chapter of Brahman, Maya, Purusha Prakriti, Ishvara Shakti. If you look into it, you will see that how he beautifully explains the stages, yes, of the development, evolutionary development. We are actually, the nature is his force. It is the spiritual enterprise, the universe. Only we do not realize it because we have the separated consciousness. So we have to arrive at him first as a witness, so to say, recognize that there is the spirit which is constantly viewing the actions of Prakriti. And if the witness is not there, if consciousness is not there, Prakriti doesn't have anything to do. So it falls down, as Sankhya would say. Yes? If he does not attend with his consciousness to what Prakriti does, he withdraws his attention, she falls into the equilibrium. Yeah? All the three gunas fall apart. So sattva, rajas, and tamas are separated, and she disappears. Without him I exist not, says the mother. Yes? Without me, he is unmanifest. So the moment he attends to her, she starts moving and trying to satisfy him in some way. She has her own will, as it were, as long as she is not Shakti, totally in awareness. So she will be trying to propose to him certain solutions, and he secretly will sanction that or this. As Sri Aurobindo says, without the sanction, even the hair cannot fall from your head. So, because Prakriti cannot do anything without his sanction. So the secret sanction is always there, but it is not yet manifested in fullness of that absolute awareness of whatever is here in this nature, in this body, is him, and his will. But it is moving towards that. The whole evolutionary process is heading towards this final realization that he is finally manifested in fullness in time and space. That's the idea. And can't be any other idea, because otherwise it's for no use. It's like having fun without fun, so to say.
Thank you.
Yeah. There are many ways of explaining it, most probably. It's just one of them. All right. No more? Some reflections.
Sorry, one more thing. Sir. How are we going to differentiate the Ishvara and Shakti from Purusha and Prakriti? That's what I'm.
Oh, yeah. Purusha and Prakriti is the term which we use to say that they are separate. Yeah, there is a kind of eternal and infinite duality. They are both eternal. They are immortal. Purusha and Prakriti, according to Sankhya. Yeah? But they are always coming together and separating, coming together and separating, as if. Yeah. But it is because we understand it in this particular formation, in this evolutionary stage, we see them in this way. It is something which we kind of conceptualize in this way. But true nature of Purusha and Prakriti is Ishvara Shakti, which is not yet manifested. So let us say Purusha and Prakriti is Ishvara Shakti in the future, at the end, or at the beginning, let us say, or always in the higher level of consciousness somewhere. Well, you see, our language is mental language, and it's just a finger pointing to the moon. So don't look at the finger, look at the moon, and you may find another way of expressing it.
Sure, thank you. Because I always thought they are the same. That's why I thought, okay, how are we differentiating? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. They are the same, one and the same. And it could not be otherwise. There would be no Purusha and Prakriti if there would be no Ishvara Shakti already there. Because why should Prakriti do anything for Purusha if she is not his Shakti?
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
I'm getting the image of this wheel at the center with the spokes. The center is immobile and still, but the whole wheel keeps moving around. The whole manifestation. And the more you go to the periphery, it's far away from the center, and the movement is also like that. But at the center, it's just still.
Yeah, interesting, yes. It is that self, that very quintessential being around which everything is happening. Yes? We have to use our consciousness, which is in time and space, mental consciousness, and that would be the image, the center of the circle, or the globe, let us say. If there is such thing, if you can go to the very center, then that would be it. And the more you move to the periphery, the more you have the varieties of relations and dynamism of the self. But without the center, there is no periphery, there is no change, there is no movement, there is nothing. Yeah? If there is nobody to move around or move, then movement itself is a very questionable thing. Absolutely. So you see, we are locked into the mind, the mental logic of things and the language itself. But language is beautiful in one regard, that it is always true to the expression. Only we can miss the point, yeah? But if we don't, language plays a very faithful role. In other words, language never lies. It is the misplacement of the mind which may kind of project it differently, or focus on one element as essential instead of seeing the whole truth. Great. Thank you all for today. So I see you next time. We will continue with this hymn, and maybe we will take one portion in between. Then Gita, we will see some portion, and then we continue. Okay, I will close with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santo Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.